What I want to be when I grow up. How many of you as a child, have been asked what you would like to be when you grow up? I was constantly asked that question. My very first answer was to be an artist. I dreamed of traveling the world painting images from planes. When I reached middle school, I believed I wanted to be a writer. I dreamed of traveling in that same airplane, writing stories of all the things that I saw. Unfortunately, I never finished a story that I wrote. By the time I reached high school, I believed I wanted to be an actress. I was able to get into a mentorship, and unfortunately, my mentor was not as encouraging as I thought he was going to be. He was never available to talk to, and I didn't gain very much information that way about what it would be like to be in the acting world. I decided to take things into my own hands and join a school play, but unfortunately, I was too shy to perform in front of others. By the time I graduated high school, I was at a complete loss of what I wanted to do with my life. Right out of high school, I went to Point Park University. I registered as undecided and decided to take classes to try to figure myself out. My first idea was to take philosophy, which was I loved philosophy at the time, but unfortunately the teacher continued to talk over all of the students' heads, and there wasn't a connection there for me. I then tried psychology and sociology. I loved taking the classes, but I couldn't imagine doing that for the rest of my life. I didn't know where it would take me. Next, I tried education. Um, Unfortunately, the classes that I was able to get into were early education classes, and although they were very informative, they were directed at more arts and crafts for young children. We made name tags and talked about our favorite colors. It just wasn't very exciting for me. So at that, I decided to take a break. Um, while I was in college, while I was at Point Park, I had moved out of my parents' house and moved in with one of my best friends. I also gained a full time job as a waitress at a busy family run restaurant. Without my passion in school, like I said, I decided to take a break. I worked in the restaurant for 5 years, moving around a few times. I worked very hard. I worked my way up to assistant manager, and later in life, I found out I was pregnant. I by the end of 2009, I was preparing myself to have a family. By the middle of 2010, the greatest joy of my life came into play, and I decided that I wanted to make a change in my life. I got a office job, which was very boring. Unfortunately, it paid very well, but it was not what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I saw myself being somewhere else, doing something else. So at that point, I decided to go back to school. Unfortunately, I still was a little unsure about what I wanted to do. I went down my list of passions and hobbies and thought I would try things out as they came. First, I tried nutrition. Although I was very interested in nutrients and how the body works, that's not what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I then, at the time, I was making crafts and handmade jewelry, and I thought that I would try business. I decided I was going to sell my jewelry and try to build up from there. Unfortunately, the classes that I was taking weren't providing new information for me. By working at the restaurant that I had worked at, I had gained a lot of information about how small businesses run and wasn't gaining any new information from the classes I took, so I immediately withdrew. Um, I decided to pursue starting my own business by selling jewelry. At the time, I was slowly selling things to friends and associates, people that I worked with, and business was picking up. I decided to widen my customer base and open up an online business. Unfortunately, in order to advertise my products, I needed to take good pictures, which I was not very good at. My brother suggested that I take a digital photography class, so back to CCAC I went. I finally figured out what I wanted to do. Within that photography class, I was encouraged to pursue new things, look at things artistically, and I loved it. The passion was there. With that encouragement, my teacher suggested that I take her black and white film photography class, which I immediately accepted. I also decided to take ceramics because the following semester, because it was something I always wanted to do. I mean, why not? Why not see where the passion would lead me? During this time, my photography professor continued to encourage me to pursue what I was doing and work towards the interest that I realized was a true passion for me. Finally, I realized what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an artist. So at that, I changed to an art major and later realized I also would like to be an art teacher. I want to encourage other people to follow their dreams as well, especially in an artistic field. Turns out I knew all along what I wanted to do with my life. I just needed an understanding of myself and the encouragement that helped push me past all of my hesitations to go for it. Thank you for listening.